The other day I was in the mood for some ravioli, so I opened Fusion and started 3D modeling the perfect raviolo. The general shape was going to be a square, but because I felt like being fancy, I decided to make the edges rippled so that it would give a fun textured effect. I did this by creating a small triangle, and instead of a straight hypotenuse, I used a spline to give it a nice sweep along the edge. I then made a linear pattern across the edge and extruded the faces and copied them along all of the edges of the raviolo. Then, to make it more attractive and to hopefully help the raviolo release from the stamp better, I added a fillet on the sharp edges. And now with the body done, I had to design the pocket where my filling would go. I decided to keep it simple, stupid, and I just did a circle. I then modeled a stamp body, which was just large enough so that when I subtracted the raviolo model, it would have about a 1.2mm wall thickness at the minimum point, and subtracted it out and sent it to the printer. While the stamp was printing, I started to make the filling by heating up 2 cups of whole milk to make the ricotta cheese base of our filling. When our milk reaches about 210 degrees Fahrenheit, we add a few tablespoons of lemon juice or vinegar to separate the curds from the whey. Then I strained it through some coffee filters placed over a colander to drain off the whey. To finish making our filling, I added a half cup of mozzarella, all of the ricotta that we made, 1 tablespoon of Parmesan, 1 egg, a quarter teaspoon of salt, some parsley, and some minced mushroom stems and mixed it together. Now it was time to roll out our pasta dough and begin shaping the ravioli. I found that the best way to do it was to use the ravioli stamp to measure out and cut the dough into strips that would be just the right size to fill and fold in half. Then I added about a quarter teaspoon of the filling to the center of one side of each strip. I used a little water on my fingers to wet the edges of the dough strip and folded it over. If you tap the stamp into a little pile of flour before pressing it into the dough, the ravioli release really well. Another trick I found is that they work better and give more detail if you only push hard enough to impart the shape and deform the filling, and then use your knife to cut the excess around the edges. As you can see, the first few were a little rough, but they turned out really great at the end. Next, we just drop them into some boiling water until they're cooked and pull them out and strain them. But before we eat them, we need a side, so let's take the mushroom caps that belong to those stems, put a small dollop of butter into each of them, add some salt, pepper, and pack them good with cheddar cheese, and then put them in the oven at 350 for as long as you want. Then, to make our sauce, saute carrots, onions, and tomatoes until they are soft and fully cooked down. Add them to a blender and liquefy them nicely. To finish our ravioli, I dunked each of them in an herb-infused olive oil, and then plated them on the sauce with the mushrooms. They turned out so well that I started to think of other shapes I could do, like hearts and diamonds and clovers. Wait a minute.
You got to know the whole